Hey guys, this is Mousepad, and with me is my best buddy Ben. He is our magic consultant,
Hello.
and today we're going to go over the Journey into Nyx expansion that's coming out for Magic the Gathering.
All right. Like he said, we're gonna go over Journey to Nyx. It's 165 cards in the new set. It's the third set and the final set in the Theros block. Theros being Theros, Born of the Gods, and Journey into Nyx. And like the other two sets, they have some new mechanics out, and I kind of want to quickly touch on those. The two mechanics in this set that they're going to be putting in are called Strive and Constellation. Now, Strive is how would I explain it?
It's kind of like Kicker, only basically you pay an extra amount of mana to have a certain ability affect more than one creature.
There you go. And then the other set is, or the other ability is Constellation, which is whenever an enchantment creature or another enchantment enters the battlefield, some ability triggers. Like on a card called Eidolon of Blossoms, it says when Eidolon of Blossoms or another enchantment enters the battlefield, you may draw one card. And they have them for each of the 5 colors.
Yeah.
And like also in this set, they also have 5 new gods, like they've had in the last 2 sets. So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
The first god I want to bring up is going to be Athreos, he's the god of passage. He's the black-white god, and he is going to be pretty much a badass. He's just going to be a little badass, though.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
He's incredibly overpowered. And then you've got Farika. She is going to be the black-green god, and she's got a lot of really cool little abilities on her, too. Then you got Crufix, who's the green-blue god, Kranos, who's the blue-red god, and then Erois, who's the red-white god. And of course, with each of these god cards that are coming out, there's going to be, they're all indestructible cards because they're gods, and they've each got their own separate little abilities that are just silly, to be honest with you. First one I want to talk about is going to be Athreos, and actually I want you to go ahead and talk about this one.
Yeah, when I saw that this card got spoiled, I had to take a double take because this thing is very, very powerful. I mean, it's 1 colorless, 1 white, and 1 black for a 5/4. Of course, it's not a creature when it enters the battlefield, but its ability is just, I mean, whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. Creature recursion is a very, very powerful ability in Magic, and there are tons of decks that run off of the sacrificing your creatures to do all sorts of shenanigans. And the fact that this card keeps those cards coming to your hand instead of going to the graveyard or being exiled is very powerful, and forcing your opponent to have to pay 3 life to keep it in the graveyard. It's kind of like The Sopranos. It's like, this is a nice business, and it'll be a shame if something happened to it, but you could pay me a little bit on the side and we can make sure nothing bad happens to you.
Right.
I mean, it's like the mob boss of gods. It's a shame that these creatures keep coming back to my hand, but you pay a little something, they can stay dead.
Right. The next one I wanted to touch base on is going to be Erois, the god of victory. He's the red-white god, and of course he's indestructible, of course, and as long as your devotion to red and white is less than 7, he isn't a creature. But it says whenever you control, or creatures you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. He's pretty much a living
Madcap skills.
Thank you. He's like a living Madcap skills, and it's pretty awesome. He's 2 colorless, a red and a white, for a 7/4. His other ability is that he prevents all damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control. So pretty much, if you are attacking, not only do you have to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. But you then prevent that damage that would be dealt to your creature by those 2 creatures.
Helps you ignore first strike and
he's gonna
death touch and
exactly ignore a lot of things that way. The next one we're going to talk about is going to be Kranos, who's the god of storms. He's the blue-red god, and I've been waiting for this one since Theros came out because blue-red is my favorite color combination to play. But he's 3 colorless, a blue and a red, for 6/5. And of course, he's indestructible and is not a creature unless blue and red devotion is 7 or more. And his ability says he reveals the first card you draw on each of your turns. And whenever you reveal a land card this way, you draw an extra card. Whenever you reveal a non-land card, Kranos deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So he's pretty much a lightning strike
for free.
Or a extra draw card.
For free.
For free. And that in and of itself I think is going to be fairly powerful just by going through there.
Gaining card advantage in any format, especially when you could just basically, I mean, you're drawing your lands for free, which is always nice.
Exactly.
But getting any sort of card advantage is very, very powerful.
Absolutely.
I mean, but it's got blue in it, so of course it's going to have try to make some kind of card advantage.
And of course it's got red in it, so it's going to deal some damage.
It's going to deal some damage.
Alright, the next one is going to be our green-blue god, Krufix, the god of horizons. He's a 3 colorless, a green and a blue for 4/7. And his ability is that you have no maximum hand size. Now, that in and of itself can be an incredibly powerful thing because now not only can you draw a bunch of cards just from having blue in your color, because blue has a lot of draw mechanics.
Yeah.
But now you have no maximum hand size, so you don't have to discard them at the end of your turn.
Yeah.
His second ability is what really makes him stupid. Is if any unused mana would empty from your mana pool, that mana becomes colorless instead. So whatever you don't use in a turn, you get on the next turn as colorless mana.
Yep. And just kind of, it's like...
It just kind of flows over. It's like AT&T's rollover minutes.
Yep. Rollover mana.
Rollover mana. Yay, rollover mana. And the last god, of course, is going to be Farika, the god of affliction.
Snake Lady.
She's a 3-cost 5/5. It's 1 colorless, 1 black, and 1 green. And her ability is a green and black. You have to tap a green and black. You exile a target creature card from a graveyard. And its owner puts a 1/1 black and green snake enchantment creature token with death touch onto the field. Basically, if you're playing green and black and you don't have mechanics that mess with your graveyard, you're not playing green and black right.
This also does trigger Constellation because it is an enchantment creature.
Right.
So that's a nice,
that's definitely a nice little
Snake Lady bringing in the goods for the new mechanics. So
absolutely. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is we're actually both me and Ben picked 2 cards that we really thought were really going to be awesome in this set, and we wanted to talk about those. I'm going to go ahead and let Ben go first.
The first card I wanted to talk about is it's a white card that was spoiled not too long ago called Deicide. It's 1 colorless, 1 white at instant speed, and it exiles target enchantment, which is pretty good on its own right. However, it also has on it that if that enchantment is also a god card, that you are able to search through their libraries, their graveyards, and their hands and take out any number of god cards with the same name that you are targeting with it and exile them from the game. Now, of course, this gets around the whole indestructible rule for the gods because
it's exiling.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about killing them, but it's pretty bonkers because they've never really had anything like this that really, especially at the end of a set that really deals with some of the most powerful cards in the set. But you know, it's a really fun card, and my second choice was Launch the Fleet, which is 1 white, and it says you know, put a 1/1 target or 1/1 white soldier token on the field. when target creature attacks. Now this also has the strive mechanic, where basically it's one colorless extra as many times as I want to pay it for as many creatures I have on my field. So say I pay 1 white to activate it to target one of my creatures and use it to tap 2 more mana. I can target 3 of my creatures, and whenever they swing, I get 3 1/1 white soldiers dropped into the battlefield attacking as well.
Absolutely.
So I'm as of right now, as of this recording, I'm big white weenie aggro, small creatures, just kind of hoard the board, and I really like this card. It's more than likely going to be a niche card, but I really like it.
Yeah. So the 2 cards that I picked are, the first one is Hydra Broodmaster, a 4 colorless 2 green for a 7/7 Hydra creature. Now, what makes her badass is that she has the monstrosity effect that most of the cards, or that
It was the
Theros.
That was
it was one of the
Theros.
It was the one released in Theros, the mechanic that was released in Theros, and her monstrosity is that she has it's 2 X's, so it's XX and a green for monstrosity X. And whenever a Hydra Brewmaster becomes monstrous, you put XX green Hydra creature tokens onto the battlefield.
Yeah.
So basically, if I wanted to make her a monstrous 3, I would pay 6 colorless and a green mana to put 3 green Hydras back out onto the battlefield, and make her into a 10/10 creature.
Yeah.
That's silly, guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty silly.
Yeah. Turn 6, drop this. Turn 7, put out 3 Hydras.
And have a 10/10.
And have a 10/10.
So not only do I have a 10/10 out there that you have to contend with, but now I've got 3 other 3/3s that you have to contend with.
Yeah.
So if it gets to turn 6, you're going to be bad. You're going to be in a bad way. The next one I wanted to talk about is the Planeswalker that's coming out in this set. Ajani, Mentor of Heroes. Now, those of you who are familiar with Magic know that Ajani is pretty much the white Planeswalker besides Elspeth.
And Gideon.
And Ajani, this time around, has added green to his mana cost. So he's a 3 colorless green and a white for this Planeswalker. His +1 ability, or one of his +1 abilities, is to distribute 3 1/1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control. Now that in and of itself can be pretty silly.
Yep.
Pretty silly.
I mean, give all the counters to one creature, or spread them out.
Spread them out. Alright, the next +1 ability that he's got is look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an aura, creature, or Planeswalker card from among them, and put that card into your hand. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And it's like Ben was saying earlier, anytime you can gain card advantage, please do.
Yeah. And these are both plus abilities. There's no negative ability for his first 2. And,
he's got no 0 ability either.
Yeah.
That's silly. But his ultimate ability is what really sets him apart. He has an ultimate ability of a -8. Now, granted, he has a 4 devotion counter to you, or loyalty counter to begin with. But his -8 ability is you gain 100 life.
Yep.
That's 1 freaking 100 life.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused why he has that. It seems like it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and they've got the first 2, and they can't really figure out the last ability, and it's just like, what if we give them 100? What if they just gain 100 life? Yeah, stick that on. Sure. Why not? But
how could this possibly be a bad idea?
Well, you're probably going to need about 100 life to deal with Athreos if he hits the field with all those creatures that are probably going to be going to the graveyard.
True.
So I figure that's why they gave, why they did that.
He's an anti-Athreos.
Yeah.
Except that Johnny's a 5-cost, Athreos is a 3.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right to me.
Well, he's got green in the color, so you shouldn't have any problem with that.
True.
But
True.
Both very powerful cards, and Johnny is very, very powerful.
All right. We want to end this discussion with talking about what the money cards are. The big money. Yeah. Big money.
I've chosen 2 out of the set that I really think are going to be probably the big money cards going forward.
And I happen to agree with him.
I'm going to have to go out on a limb and say Athreos, God of Passage, just because the recursion that he's able to do and the fact that, you know, people that play in the older formats other than what's in Standard right now, you know, with Modern and Legacy, as well as Shenanigans and Commander, you know, it's going to be one of those cards that everybody's going to want to get their hands on. And, you know, there's a ton of people already, you know, building decks around it, you know, incorporating it into decks. You know, there are mono black decks that are going to be running white, you know, white dual lands so that they can splash for him. Especially in the mono black deck, because there isn't a 3-drop that comes to mind really, except for maybe Nightveil Spectre.
Maybe.
But it fit, you know, it's like turn 1 or turn 2 Pack Rat, turn 3 Athreos, turn 4 the Desecration Demon, and then, you know, turn 5 your opponent's crying because you know, stuff is going down that they don't like
and that they can't do anything about.
Yeah, they can't do anything about. So I think that that's going to be one of the big money cards in the set right now. I mean, moving forward, you know. And the second one is Mana Confluence, which is a new land, and it is tap it and pay 1 life and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And this is kind of a fixed version of an old card called City of Brass, which basically said, you know, tap it for any color of mana, and when it becomes tapped, you lose 1 life. Now, it's fixed because your opponents can tap this down and you don't lose life, unlike in City of Brass. And just any time that you can basically, and you can make any color mana, which fixes pretty much any deck that you really want, and the fact that it comes in untapped, and the fact that you don't have to pay anything other than 1 life is bonkers to me. Plus, lands are probably the most expensive stuff that most people run in the decks, you know, barring anything from like the original sets where they get up to thousands of dollars. But we're not talking about that here. But I'm thinking this card could easily be, you know, $20, $25, you know, why it's in Standard. I see Legacy and Modern getting a hold of this because it's mana fixing, and you pay 1 life, and people already run 4 of the City of Brasses.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna have a field day with this. I'm surprised that right now this isn't the most expensive card for pre-order, because this thing is bonkers.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for our Journey into Nyx preview here. Expect more videos like this coming forward as we get new sets being dropped, new blocks being dropped. So we'll definitely be continuing to do these videos. So leave us a comment if you liked it. Tell us what you think are going to be the main money cards. If you really want to discuss it, we'll be watching.